Hello and welcome to our tutorial on importing your glossary to Smartling. In this video, you will learn how you can use the import and export options of the Smartling glossary to upload a new glossary or to modify an existing one. A glossary is a list of key terms that are important to your organization and that should be translated consistently across all jobs. If your glossary currently lives in an offline document, for example in a spreadsheet, you can import it into the Smartling translation platform. This ensures that glossary terms are highlighted in real time in the cat tool, so the correct translation can be applied. To upload your glossary to Smartling, please follow these steps. First of all, you need to create a new glossary in your Smartling account. You can think of this as an empty container that you will import your glossary file into. You then need to ensure that your glossary file follows a format that is recognized by Smartling. Once your glossary file is ready in the correct format, you can simply import it to Smartling. After your glossary has been imported, you can then add it to your linguistic package to make it available to the translators. Let's begin by creating a glossary in Smartling. From your account settings, please navigate to the linguistic assets. On the left side, you can now find a direct link to your glossaries. Please click the Create Glossary button to enter a name and optional description for your new glossary. You will then be asked to select the languages which should be included in your new glossary. Please remember to pick all languages that you are translating from and all languages that you are translating into. So this list of languages should include both your source languages and your target languages. Once you hit the Create button, the new glossary is now available in your glossary list. For now, this is just an empty container which we will later use to import the glossary file into. In a second step, let's now make sure that your glossary file follows a format that is recognized by Smartling so it can be imported correctly. The easiest way to do this is by selecting the option Export Glossary Template from the ellipsis menu next to the glossary that you just created. This allows you to download a template file in the Smartling-friendly format for all of your languages. Let's download this glossary template in an Excel format and then open the file. This glossary template contains all of the correct column headers that you will need to import your glossary to Smartling. You can simply fill in this template by typing or pasting all of your glossary terms and additional information. All columns in this template are optional. If you don't have any data to populate certain fields or columns with, you can simply leave them blank. You can even hide or delete columns that you don't want to fill in. Let's take a closer look at some of the available columns. When importing a new glossary, the ID in the first column should be left blank. Any rows without an ID will be recognized as new entries that should be added to your glossary. After your glossary has been successfully imported, Smartling will automatically create a unique ID for each glossary entry, so it can be identified and updated anytime. There is no fixed source language with the new Smartling glossary. So you will not find a specific column for source terms in this template file. Instead, you can simply fill in the term column for each of your languages, whether they are used as source languages or as target languages. In the Smartling glossary, a term has two functions. If you are translating from a given language, the term will be underlined in the source text, and the translators can see all of your instructions for this glossary entry. On the other hand, if you are translating into this language, the term is now shown as the suggested translation. So you can simply type or paste your glossary terms in the term column for all languages. If you would like to give the translators some options, you can add linguistic variations. These are alternative translations that could be used instead of the main term if they are better suited in a particular context. Similarly to the main term, linguistic variations are displayed both on a source level and on a target level. If a variation has been entered for the source language that you translate from, this alternative term will be highlighted in the cat tool, and the information for the relevant glossary entry will be displayed. On the other hand, if a variation has been entered for a target language that you translate into, then the translators can use this alternative translation instead of the main term, if it is better suited in a particular context or sentence structure. If you would like to add further instructions to make sure that your glossary term will be translated correctly, you can add some optional notes for each language. For example, you could add notes regarding the acceptable scenarios for using the term variations or some capitalization rules. These notes will only be shown to the linguists translating into this specific language. If there are any terms that should always remain untranslated, such as brand terms or trademarked words, they should be added to your glossary as DNT or do not translate terms. To do so, please navigate to the term column for the language that is used as a source language in your projects, so the language that you translate from. Please enter the term that should remain untranslated. Then navigate to the Do Not Translate column for the same source language and enter the value True. This allows Smartling to detect the DNT term in the source text. So when the text to translate contains a Do Not Translate term, an instruction is shown in the cat tool to ensure that it remains untranslated. This Do Not Translate instruction is shown to the translators across all target languages. So to summarize, DNT terms need to be set for your source language, and they'll automatically be flagged across all target languages as terms that should remain untranslated. If you use more than one source language across your various projects, simply add the DNT term for all of your source languages. This allows Smartling to detect the DNT term in any of your source languages. If a term should remain untranslated for most languages, but does require an actual translation for certain languages only, you can override the Do Not Translate instruction by providing a language-specific translation. First, add the D&T term in the term column of your project source language and enter the Do Not Translate value true. Then navigate to the term column of the language which should use an actual translation rather than the untranslated D&T term. Simply add the desired translation in the term column for this specific language. In the CAT tool, the translators for this target language will then only see the suggested translation. The Do Not Translate instruction will not be shown for this language. For all other target languages, the Do Not Translate instruction will still be shown in the CAT tool. In your source text, glossary terms are often embedded in a full sentence structure. This means that word endings or casing may change, for example, to reflect plural forms, grammatical genders, or declinations. So by default, we allow for some flexibility to ensure glossary terms will be highlighted in the CAT tool, even if word endings or the capitalization of a term differ slightly from your glossary entry. However, this default behavior can be changed by marking a glossary term as case-sensitive or as an exact match term. Both of these fields are optional. They can be set for your project source language to narrow down which words will be underlined and highlighted as glossary terms in the source text. To mark a term as an exact match term, please add the value true to the exact match column for your project source language, so the language that you translate from. When marked as an exact match, the term will only be detected and highlighted in the CAT tool if the source text uses it exactly in the same form as the glossary. If there is any variation to the word ending, for example to indicate a plural, the term is no longer detected in the source text and the glossary entry is not displayed to the translators. Exact match terms are not case sensitive by default. So it doesn't matter if the term appears in uppercase or lowercase spelling. As long as the exact wording is used, the term will still be highlighted and the glossary entry will be shown. If you do want a glossary term to be case sensitive, please enter the value true in the case sensitive column for the project source language that you translate from. A term which is marked as case sensitive for the source language will be detected in the source text and highlighted in the CAT tool only if it follows the exact capitalization that is used in the glossary. If there is any difference in uppercase or lowercase spelling, the term will not be shown as a glossary term in the CAT tool. A term that is marked as case sensitive is automatically also considered an exact match term. So any changes to the word endings will also result in the glossary term not being detected in the source text. To summarize, both the case sensitive and the exact match option only have an impact if they are set for the project source language. They help you narrow down which words will be detected as glossary terms. They are most commonly used for brand terms that should stay untranslated. Marking brand names as case-sensitive or exact match terms ensures that the Do Not Translate instruction will only be displayed in the exact context of that brand name, and not for regular words that may look similar but are simply used as part of your source text. To help your translators understand what each glossary entry is referring to, you can enter an optional definition. This is especially helpful if there is no suggested translation available for a certain glossary term. A thorough understanding of what the glossary entry is referring to will help the linguists choose the best possible translation. Indicating the part of speech can further help reduce any ambiguities. In this column, you can indicate if the glossary entry is referring to a noun, a verb, an adjective, an adverb, a conjunction, an interjection, a preposition, or a pronoun. This can be especially useful if your glossary contains homonyms that could be referring to either a noun or a verb. Providing the part of speech can help clarify what each entry is referring to. Once you have added all of your entries to the template file, please save the file. You are now ready to upload it to Smartling. From the Linguistic Assets, under your account settings, please navigate to your glossaries. Please locate the empty glossary that you had created as part of Step 1. From the ellipsis menu next to this glossary, please select the option Import Glossary. You can now upload your glossary file. Please review the additions, and if you are happy to proceed, confirm the import. Congratulations! Your glossary has now been successfully imported. To view the imported glossary entries, please click on the glossary name. You can now view all of the terms and edit them anytime by clicking into the relevant row. As a last but important step, please remember to add the new glossary to your linguistic package. A glossary can be seen and used by the translators only if it is part of the linguistic package that is used for the relevant project. To check which linguistic package a project is using, please click into the Settings tab. From here, you can access the package, which is a collection of all resources and tools that inform the linguists about your translation preferences. Please edit the package and navigate to the Required Assets tab. Please add the new glossary here and save this update. Once the glossary is added to the linguistic package, it will now be used for all projects associated with this package. We would recommend reviewing and updating your glossary on a regular basis, for example, after a rebranding of your business or when new product lines or services are launched. This ensures that your preferred brand and product terminology will always be used throughout the translation process. To update or add glossary entries in bulk, you can simply export your Smartling glossary, make the desired changes and additions, and then re-import the glossary file back into Smartling. You can either export and update your entire glossary or selected entries only. To export your entire glossary, please navigate to the glossary list and select the option Export Glossary from the ellipsis menu. This allows you to download your entire glossary in a Smartling-friendly file format with all of the correct column headers. Alternatively, if you would like to update selected glossary entries only, please click into the glossary and apply any desired filters. You can manually select the glossary entries that you would like to update, or bulk select all. Then choose the option Export from the Actions menu to download the selected glossary entries in a Smartling-friendly format. Whether you exported your entire glossary or selected entries only, you can now make any necessary changes and updates directly in the downloaded glossary file. To update an existing glossary entry, please make sure to leave the ID in column A unaltered. This unique ID allows Smartling to identify each existing glossary entry. By leaving this ID unaltered, Smartling will recognize that you would like to make a change to an existing entry in your glossary rather than creating a new one. Any other columns in the file can simply be updated as needed. Once all necessary changes have been made, please save the glossary file before you re-import it. If you would like to add new entries to your existing glossary, simply add them to the bottom of the file. Please leave the ID column blank for any new entries. Any rows without an ID will be recognized as new entries that should be added to your existing glossary. Simply fill in the other available columns with all of the glossary terms and information that you would like to add. Once all new entries have been filled in, please save the glossary file before proceeding. Please note that Smartling does not check for duplicate terms. The easiest way to avoid any unintentional duplicates is by exporting your entire glossary first. Then, once you have added the new entries, you can use a formula to check for any duplicates in the relevant language columns. Any unwanted duplicates can now be removed before the file is saved and imported back to Smartling. Once the edited glossary file is ready and has been saved, you can now import it back into Smartling. From the glossary list, please locate the glossary that you would like to update. Then select the option Import Glossary from the ellipsis menu and upload the edited glossary file. Please review and confirm the updates to your glossary. Once the import is finished, all changes and edits are now reflected in your Smartling glossary. If you would like to remove certain entries from your glossary, you can mark them as archived. To do so, please enter the value true in the column titled Archived. Once you save this file and then import it back into Smartling, these entries will now be archived. Archived entries are not shown to the translators anymore, and they are no longer part of your active glossary. Please note that you can only archive an entire entry, which includes the terms for all languages. It is not possible to archive terms for certain languages only. If you need further guidance, please feel free to visit our Help Center, where you can find detailed information about the Smartling Glossary and all export and import options. Thank you very much for watching and for your time today.